Welcome to Plowman's Backyard. My name is Kendra, and today we're going to just touch on women in homesteading. So recently I've had some comments about how much they're seeing just one person in our videos doing a lot of the work on the homestead. I must say that you do see me quite often in a lot of the videos, and I do a decent amount of the work here, but I don't do all of it. As many as you know, we have, we're a family, a homesteading family, and my husband works. So he works pretty much full time. He has a little bit of time off in the winter months. I have to say that the reason why I do what I'm doing is because I actually enjoy it. So for years, I actually worked in healthcare. I worked in healthcare for probably 20 something years, and I loved it. I absolutely loved my job. If you asked anyone, they would tell you that I did my job, I did it well, and I enjoyed it, and I really do miss it. About 3-4 years ago, I decided that I was better utilized at home. We started this lifestyle I want to say maybe about 8 years ago. We really got into it. We've kind of always had this passion for doing it. And when we bought this place, we decided that we wanted to grow our own food. We wanted to grow a lot of our vegetables. We wanted to eventually have some animals on the homestead. And so that's kind of what brought us into this. I was working the majority of the time. At that time, I was the sole provider because my husband had some health issues that I had to be working outside the home. So much so that I was leaving. I would leave on Sundays and come back sometimes on Wednesdays or Thursdays. And he was home with our daughter. That was really hard. So I have done my fair share of working outside the home. And then as my husband was able to get back to work after his health issues, he then had found a job that he loves, which he does docks and decks and things like that. So seasonal work around here, which is perfect because we're kind of in cottage country here where we are in Canada. Now, that being said, since day one, our daughter's 13 and she has never stepped foot in a school. So we have been homeschooling her since day one, which was something that we also wanted to do. We knew that when she was born, this was kind of the route that we were going. We had this passion of homeschooling her. We wanted her to have a good education as well as a well-rounded education on things like how to maintain your home, how to, cut wood, preserve your own food, how to grow your own food and things like that. So we want her to have this well-rounded, balanced education. And that's kind of what we've been striving for. About 3-4 years ago, I made the decision that I was best used at home because as she gets older in her homeschooling, there is a lot more need to be able to be with her and to spend more time teaching her, especially like math, language, different things like that takes a little bit more time for me to sit down and teach her, because at the time I would teach her kind of in the morning and then I would be off to work. We decided that really wasn't the best thing. So now I do a lot of the stuff after, we've got school going in the morning and she's kind of independent in most of the stuff now. I can come out and I can do things like wood or chickens or work in the garden and things like that. That's why you see me mostly in a lot of the videos, is because I'm home pretty much 100% of the time with her, doing homeschooling. And so I know a lot of the comments are like, where's your husband and all this? Doesn't he do the work? Yes, he does a lot of the work, but he works really long hours. He is usually home after dark. So I can choose to wait till he gets home and do wood with him in the dark, but I choose to do it during the day. I have time to do it. I like being outdoors. Sometimes I like having a little break and being by myself outside. I find it refreshing, rejuvenating. I just love having that quiet time to myself once in a while. So I choose to do this instead of being out in the cold, in the dark when he gets home. He is home on the weekends. So Sundays is typically our day that we are doing a lot of stuff as a family, getting things prepped, especially right now for winter. And he does help out a lot with the wood, getting the chicken coops ready for winter. He's building another chicken coop for me. In the springtime, he helps out with the garden, getting it tilled and things like that. I'm more visible in here because I tend to do most of my videoing during the day. So that's probably why you're only seeing kind of one side. Now, I do have some other videos coming up where he's in them as well. And I've been trying to show him a little bit more in them, but he's trying to catch up on the things that I can't do. So as a woman in homesteading, I know my limitations and I know what I'm capable of, and I know what I can and can't do. So typically, like, I might be able to do all this wood, but there's certain logs that I can't lift, or I might be able to do like 90% of stuff with the chickens, but I can't do this 10%. And so when he's home, he's doing the 10% and the 20% that I actually can't physically do myself or don't have the knowledge to do. One thing I know that you will probably never see me with a chainsaw cutting these big logs. I don't mind splitting, I don't mind stacking, I don't mind doing just about anything else, but I do not want to have to do the chainsaws. And that is definitely one thing that you will see my husband do probably 100% of the time, because I will not do the chainsaw. This is a lifestyle that we chose together, that I chose. And so I have, I've thought about going back to work. If I did go back to work, a lot of the homesteading stuff, I would probably have to cut down on my garden, probably won't get as much canning and stuff done in a year. If I went back, I have to sacrifice some of that stuff that I've been wanting to do. As a woman in homesteading, you'll come to realize either you're going to be working more together and struggling a little bit more financially, or he can be out working a good majority of the time, helping to pay the bills and different things like that, and purchase the thing that needs to be purchased, and you're left here sometimes on your own doing some of this stuff. And that's just a choice that I make, and a choice that I think each family or homesteading family has to make. So those are some of the things that you have to sacrifice with this lifestyle as a woman in homesteading. If your husband is out working long hours, sometimes he's gone for a few days. I know some other homesteading women that their husband goes away for a week or 2 weeks at a time, and they're home doing the majority of the work. Now, is that a bad thing? Is it a sexist thing? Is it a feminist thing? No, that's just a reality of what it's like, especially since we live so far away from town. Even at his closest jobs, he's still driving like 40 minutes one way just to get to his job site or wherever he's going to be going. There are days that he drives an hour and a half, 2 hours, or 3 hours to his job site. So the fact that I might not see him home before 6 or 9 o'clock at night, even, in the summertime especially, if I waited around to do it as, a family and all together, it probably wouldn't get done. So as women in homesteading, I just kind of want to touch on that, just because maybe you see women mostly out there in these videos, in the homesteading channels, isn't necessarily because the husbands don't do nothing. It's simply because the husbands are sacrificing their time out there, providing for their families, working hard, and getting home and doing long hours, sometimes not seeing their kids and family for days. And the women are here doing this. Now, this is definitely a lifestyle choice that I've made and a lot of other women are making. And so I think that, when you go and you comment on things like, oh, well, where's the husband in the picture? We only see you in the videos. I think that you need to do your background and really check out and see what's going on. Because if you are maybe you're fortunate enough that you don't have, a mortgage to pay, or you don't have bills or debt or different things like that. But for the majority of the homesteading families and the working families, there needs to be someone out there working. In all of that, I'm here doing the daily things that I need to do, teaching my daughter homeschooling and doing the things that need to be done. Now, I'm choosing today to be out here on this beautiful day. It's so nice. It's relaxing. I'm out here putting the wood, stacking it for winter. Now, I could say, you know what, I'm just going to stay inside and do the stuff that I need to do in the house. But if I don't do this, and it's a choice that I make, then I could be out here in minus 40-degree weather in the middle of the winter, knee-deep in snow, and my husband's going to be off because he's a seasonal worker, and we could do it together. But I would much rather do it now on a beautiful day in the fall, November, Canada, when it's like plus 8 degrees Celsius out, just doing this leisurely, where I can take my time and I don't need to rush because it's so cold and we ran out of wood. That's how it is. So women in homesteading, you might be seeing maybe one-sidedness of what's really going on here, but I can tell you that the men generally do a lot of things around here as well. And if they're not, it doesn't matter. They're out there working, so we don't have to. There's a lot of benefits to homesteading. We're totally blessed. We have this lifestyle. It keeps us busy. And I can say one thing really is I am too busy to be offended. So, if you want to make comments and stuff like that, it's okay. It really doesn't bother me. And I'm not offended because I've got way too much to do to be totally concerned with what's all going on. But I did want to address the situation. We're really passionate about what we do here. And at Plowman's Backyard, we work as a team. And it might not be that we work as a team on every specific task that needs to be done, but we work as a team to collectively, as a whole, to make sure that, you know, ends are met and things get done. During the evenings when we do have time to discuss, we discuss what we need to do in the day, who's going to do it. And, you know, if I say, I can't do this, he's like, okay, I'll do it when I get home. And that's just how we run things here. But the other thing is too, I have a passion of sharing what I've been learning on this homestead journey. But when we first started out, I had no idea what I was doing. And I wanted to learn everything. And I was like, wow, wouldn't it be so great to have somebody who is going through exactly what I was going through that could teach me the ropes and how things work and all the struggles and challenges of homesteading and all the joys and the benefits of homesteading. And I thought, wow, you know what, I'm going to put this out there for other Canadian homesteaders that are also maybe homeschooling their kids, making these hard decisions, but also totally being blessed, because I don't think I would pick a different lifestyle. I love being out in the country. I love, you know, coming out on a day like today in the middle of the week and just absorbing nature and having the peace and quiet and hearing the chickens and being able to homeschool my daughter, know what she's learning. I can make sure that she is going to be successful. I can choose to have her out here with me all day doing wood. She comes out and she does maybe an hour of wood with me. She might help me do the chickens in the morning, do the chores. But for the most part, I need her in there learning her education, getting a good education, because I think that's really important. I worked in healthcare field. I loved it. I was making a difference. And when I needed to, like when my husband had health issues, I could get a job just about anywhere because I was in healthcare, and I could support the family when he couldn't be doing that. So I want her to grow up to have the choice. She doesn't have to necessarily have this lifestyle. I would love to see her want this lifestyle, but I want her to have the choice to be who she wants to be and have the education if she wanted to go ahead and be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or anything that she wanted to be. And so by the fact that she's not necessarily with me like 100% of the time doing all this homesteading stuff that I'm doing, she does do a lot with us, and we have her do some every day. So she is getting that benefit of homesteading. But I also want her to be able to stand on her own 2 feet if she had to as an adult. And I think that by me being here and showing her the examples of, you know, what it takes and stuff like that, especially with education and homesteading, homesteading is kind of a lost art. And it's funny, like today we call it, homesteading. You know, when our grandparents were growing up, they didn't say they were homesteading. They were just living. They had to live this way. And I think it's kind of funny today we put it in this category of a homesteading lifestyle. But really this is the lifestyle. It's not necessarily just a label of homesteading. This was how people lived 100% of the time. They just didn't call it that. Like, I didn't grow up with a lot of this stuff, right? So the fact that we're bringing it back into the education of our children, I think, is important, because there are times ahead that might get a little bit dicey and that people might need to learn this stuff, especially with wood. You know, when we first moved here, we were on oil 100%, and it was so costly. I'm talking like $600 maybe every 5 or 6 weeks in the winter, and you're talking about 6 months of winter here in Canada. Whereas we purchased this wood for about, $1,100, and so far we're going to do 2 years of winter and possibly a third off of it. This lifestyle, it is, one where you're dedicating your time to it. It might seem like a lot of work, but there's a lot of savings, and they're, involved in what we're doing here. It's a lot more work, but you're saving a lot more money. I know there's a lot of other women out there in homesteading that may have a different journey than we do, but this at Plowman's Backyard, this is just how it is with us, and it works well for us. So anyways, if you see my husband once in a while in a video, know that just give him a shout and say, hey Jay, good job, it's nice to see you. But for the most part, I'm out here filming when my daughter's in there and doing her school independently, and I have a little bit of quiet time to myself, and I just bring you guys along with me. So anyways, I was out here doing wood, and I got to continue doing that. I'm almost done. Anyways, I hope that you enjoy having me in these videos. It's, I would love to have Jason a little bit more in them, but I also, I need him to be outside the home doing the work that he needs to do as well to provide for the family. So until next time, we'll meet again on the next video. Take care.